everyone, and welcome to another episode of Studio Insights. We've got myself and Victoria, and we've got Kim, and we're super excited to bring another episode to you full of value, we are thinking and hoping. It usually is, so I'm sure it will be. Before we get into it, I just wanted to share as well, we've released a new product on the Creator Hub, and it is super exciting. They're human-centered activities for healthcare. So if you're an instructional designer in the healthcare industry, or you know anyone in the healthcare industry, we would really appreciate it if you could recommend it to them. I'm going to put the link to the activities in the description below. If you've listened or watched our YouTube before, our podcast, you will know that we absolutely love human-centered design. And what we've done is we've applied it to the healthcare system so that healthcare services can use it to improve their impact and better support their patients. So check it out. It is epic. So to get started, I think Victoria would like to ask the first question.
My first question is for both of you, as usual. But I know it's something that Hannah was dealing with this week. I just want to know, like, your tips for communicating with clients if they're not necessarily understanding what you're asking of them. So whether, like, we've handed something over and we want them to check certain things, or we're asking them to take some other action, and they respond in a way that shows they're not, you know, like, understanding what we want from them. What are your tips around things like that?
Can I just extend this, not just clients, but like any human being? Because, like,
Oh.
yeah. The example I'm thinking of is team members. Nah.
Before, where you've given me a task and I've done something completely different.
I know. So yeah, it's just people, it's communication. So stakeholders, team members, your parents, loved ones, therapists. Okay, Vic, can you please repeat the question, because now I've had a brain fart.
You struggled to say the first time.
But yeah, just like communication tips, if you,
so people understand what you're actually asking of them.
yeah. But yeah, specifically for, like, action, like if you need them to do something or give you something and there's a miss.
I do have something. Something that I've learned is a lot of the times, like, a word can have two different meanings. So for example, like, animation could be an actual, like, production of a beyond animation, or it could just mean that things are moving on the screen. So I think what I do now, especially with our terminology in learning and development, we have a lot of terminology that we understand, but the client or a stakeholder or someone else in the team might not understand. So it's just around thinking, like, how could the person take this if they didn't know what I knew, and making sure that you're, like, overly clear around what you're explaining, because that has gotten me in the past, I think, where I've said a word where I have a meaning for it and they've thought it was something else.
Yeah.
Kim?
That was a good one. Well, I just think our email templates, another product to plug, but the structure of them is so clear. So, like, a brief and thinking about what's the need to know versus the nice to know. Calling out action required by you. Like, I know our project updates, it's like, this is what's happening in the next week. So this is action required by you. This is action required by us. So really calling it out. I think if you can show as much as possible, so show like a visual, this is the end result that it's going to look like. So they're not having to, like, interpret our words as a visual something. If we can show, that's more effective. Again, still in the email templates, we use, like, the structure and formatting. So we use bold, we use underlined, we use italics, and it's quite intentional and consistent in how they're used, as well as, like, if there are actions, for example, they're numbered. If it's just information, it's dot points. And then I think something that we all do is we have someone else support us, like, so, hey, can you have a look at this? How would you interpret? What vibe are you getting from this email? Or even asking, like, what would you do if you receive this, to make sure that I can, like, for example, repeat back, you've asked me to do this action, this is the action I'd take, and this is what I'd send you back in response to this email. So kind of validating, user testing, I guess. That's what's coming to mind for me.
Yeah. I think something else is thinking about like what are the possible things that they could respond with. And example was yesterday we'd sent a client like basically parameters for them if they wanted to create their own scenario question. And what I'd done originally, I hadn't thought about potentially them providing like a lot of words that wasn't going to fit into our template. So just thinking about, okay, like we've told them exactly what they need to do, but what could potentially happen? Like we're expecting we're going to get 10 words back, but like in reality, they could actually send 1,000 words back because we haven't been specific enough. So I think just being like really clear around like all the different touch points for what the result could be. It's not, there's like so much involved. So just thinking like, if I got something back from them, what exactly would I want it to look like and how do I set them up to provide me with exactly that.
Love that one.
Cool. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Kim, would you like to ask your question?
Yes. My question is around brainstorming. It is for both of you. So I'd say, Hannah, if you think of the lens of instructional design and storyboards, and Vic, from interpreting a storyboard and developing a module perspective, what are the benefits of prioritizing brainstorming in the process of delivering a learning solution?
I think so. For me, like we did a brainstorming session today, and I've realized the more that we do, I think it's just so important to give yourself that space to like only focus on brainstorming, because I think when we have a lot of other things going on in our head, like the project and the deadlines, and like this is a tool that we're using, and like I've got to get the storyboard done by the end of the day, it doesn't allow your brain time to be completely creative and come up with ideas that are outside of the box or like next level. So I think just having that space to do that can enable us to deliver something that's, I don't know how to describe it, but just like better meets the intent and is in a way that like better engages the audience and is like out there compared to just like an e-learning course. Like there's so many other ways to engage and do things. And I think in today's society, like people do need quite a bit to capture their attention. Like if they don't see how it adds value to them or it's boring, then they're not going to do anything with it. So it just gives us opportunity to make sure that we do that.
Do you think? I think from the development side of things, it's useful because it takes like some of the load off, I guess, if there's already like really ideas that have come up early in the project. And I guess we got like with the question I asked, with what you were saying about like it's good to show like a visual of things. And I think if whoever created the storyboard or whatever, if they've got like this vision that's going to be amazing, it helps if like they can pass that level of like detail onto me, like if they do have an image or something in mind for what it's going to look like. Interpret things so differently. So it's good, like you've already done the work to think of the best thing that we could do out of this.
So communicate.
So like tell me what that is. And I think as well, like generally whoever's done the storyboard would have a better idea of like the big picture of the project as opposed to me just getting it to develop. So like, I don't know, you know what else is going to be in the module and like what the other ideas are, so it's like balanced out. It's not, I'm just not going to look at a screen and be like, yeah, that should be, I don't know, click and reveal or dot points or something, when there could be like 50 other screens that are going to be like that, and you could have a really good idea to use instead. So I kind of, you're already sort of doing that, like when you do the storyboard, you're kind of picturing what the end like is going to be for that particular content. So like if you've got those ideas, then why would it tell me?
Like Chinese
really
whispers.
And I wonder as well, like Victor, to go on that, like for people that don't necessarily have a team, like you're relying on like a process, but someone might just be an e-learning developer and the storyboard's given to them and there is no ideas, it's just content, or they might work solo. I know we have, well, actually this is for all of us, like we have that inspiration board, like of ideas that we just collect and add to? Do you think it's beneficial to prioritize the time to go look at that for, because that is brainstorming as well, like it's just collected over time, and it's like you're saying, you're not just going, here's another text and image that will be the same as everything else.
Like if you're on your own, I think it's still important. Like I would just, if it was just me working on it, I would prioritize that time before it got to development to brainstorm, because I kind of once it gets to me anyway, I'm like, I'm just ready to like make something. I'm not in like the same mind. Not in the same mindset. Like, what's the coolest thing that we could make? So yeah, I think it should be like a separate thing done before that. But whether it's you doing it or someone else doing it, like there's definitely a place for it. And yeah, then when you do get to development, like you've got everything there already, so you can like really put the time into building it like in a high quality way. You're not trying to like come up with ideas and quickly build something and like definitely.
I can relate to that. I definitely like the mindset thing. It is a different mindset of like, how will I treat this, and then executing on that. So definitely for me, I need like the time before and then the development time, not just like, here's the screen right now, how am I going to deal with that one? Then do it. Here's the screen for another one, how am I going to do that? It definitely is a different mindset that you're in. Did that stimulate anything else, Hannah? I can see you like ready to go.
It's like, I love how you know without even me having to say anything. I think there's lots of cool things out there in the world, and I think you don't always have to come up with like something completely new or put pressure on yourself to be like coming up with this brand new idea. I think you can like look at what's out there and adapt. And I know our brainstorming today, like thinking about the things that have stuck in our minds, whether it's like an ad or like another solution that we've seen, or like a video on YouTube, and using that and seeing whether it works for the context of our topic for the project that we're working on. So I think it just gives you an opportunity as well to think of like cool things out in the world and how we can replicate it, rather than just doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Because there are things you watch where it just like stays in your mind and you're like, that was really cool, and you can like remember it all, and like that shows it must have been good and it's been thought through. So if you can use that, obviously not copy it, but like use elements of it with what you're doing, that's like really cool, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right, last question is me. My question's for Kim. I wanted to know, so you've been interviewing people for podcasts for quite a while now. So you get people on the show or learning with Belvista Studios, and you ask them questions around a certain topic. Around what inspires them about you, etc. So I just wanted to know, I feel like you have come a long way with that. Like I remember when you first were doing podcasts and you were probably like nervous, and it was like trying to figure out, I don't know, like how to like be natural on camera and ask the right questions and everything. So I just wanted to know what advice you had for people who want to learn in that format.
Sorry, I need to get over like, because you didn't she say what inspires them about me? It's like, come on here and just tell me why I'm so great. That's
Don't you? You get people on the show to talk about yourself.
Okay. So you want to know how you can build confidence to host or facilitate a conversation?
Yes. Particularly when it's being filmed, because I feel like that puts more pressure on people when they know it's going to be like watched by other people.
I just get very clear on why you're doing it, and then that isn't an issue, in my opinion. Because if you're doing it for the right reasons that are personally motivating, all of that just disappears. I don't ever think that I'm like filming this for the public. Like this is, especially like when we're here, or like if I'm having a conversation with someone, I'm literally having a conversation. I don't even remember that it's being recorded. So I'm like so intentional on like, I'm here to like right now spend time with the team, learn from them, and extract the most value from you guys to give to the audience. So I'm just, that's my why right now. So I'm present to the conversation, then I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm like, okay, have I learned that? Do I have a follow-up question because I want to learn another thing? And it's the same when I'm having a conversation with someone else. Like the reason we started the podcast was learning with Belvista Studios, that particular one, where we do have guests on, is I wanted to learn from other people. I didn't want to just learn from you guys because I'm fucking tired of it. Not jokes. I wanted to learn from other people and challenge my thinking. So that was one reason. I also wanted to hold myself accountable to continue to learn, because it's the first thing that I would drop off probably if I didn't do it publicly. So being very clear on that means that I just show up to learning, which is something that's important to me, and then I'm having a conversation that I've picked someone that I know will add value to my life, and I'm like, I've got 1 hour of time to extract and learn from this person, get the most value from it. And when you're very clear on why you're doing the podcast in the first place, you have no the fact that it's being filmed or that it's going to end up on the internet doesn't come to mind for me at all.
Has it ever come to mind for you?
No, because it's always been, I'm here to learn. And how I am in the podcast is how I was when I was in an organization as an employee, having my one-on-one with my supervisor. Like, it's the same mindset. I'm here to learn and be better.
So what advice would you have for people who do get like stuck in their head around what people might think? Or
be very clear on why you are doing it, and maybe it's not the right thing for you. If you're being held up on like, oh, I'm nervous about this and that, then you're not connected to your why, so you need to revisit that. You're worried about for example, this might not be everyone's thing, but what are people going to say about like how my hair is, or like the quality of my audio, or that my thumbnail doesn't meet everyone else's quality thumbnail. Like, you've forgotten why you're doing it in the first place. And for example, if the quality of your audio was important and the polished look and feel of what you look like, I'm very polished today, well done, Kim. The quality of your thumbnail, the quality of your video, the quality of your audio, why you are doing the podcast is to be the best podcast in the world, then that would be important to you and you'd make an effort there and it wouldn't be an issue. So that's why I mean, you got to really remember why you're doing it and then reconnect to your why. If you're making a podcast to make sales, then it would be like very polished and it would be very structured, and you wouldn't like, if you know why you're doing it, all the other shit doesn't show up. And if you're concerned about all the other shit, you forgot why you're doing it in the first place.
Yeah, that's really cool. Reminds me of there was like a Christo sort of masterclass episode on YouTube, and people through people's fears, and some people were saying that they refuse to post on social media and they don't like share tips with their industry because they're worried about what people will think. But they like want to do it, but they're too fearful to actually take the step to do it. So I think that's like, your advice is good, to just think about like, what is your why are you doing it? And then if other things do show up that are stopping you, like, deal with that. Like, if you're doing it because you're worried about what people think, does it really matter if you're doing what's right for you?
Yeah.
But it's cool that you've always had that, because I do feel like people can struggle with that, putting themselves out there.
But I've always had it only because I'm very clear on my intent on why I'm doing it. So that's why the confidence or the lack of fear is non-existent. Like, I don't have insecurities around those things because I'm not worried about an opinion, because I'm just like, if someone's going to judge me, I don't have time for that, because I'm just like, what goes through my head is, I run an e-learning and instructional design business, and I want to deliver good solutions to my learners. I want to create an awesome workplace, and to deliver good solutions to the clients that we serve, to deliver and have a good cohesive team where we work on projects we're proud of. we need to learn. So I'm prioritizing our learning so that we can have all those things. And that's more important to me about what someone says. Or how I look, or whatever the fucking background of this video, or the lighting, or anything like that, because I'm just like, well, our livelihoods depend on us learning and creating good solutions. So yeah, that's why it's kind of like connect to the why, be intentional about what you're doing, and then that stuff actually doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's really cool. Nice, thank you.
Oh, good.
Awesome. Well, that will do it for this week's episode.
That'll do it. Just packed with value, and here she is. Yeah, I guess it's just a like
that'll do.
average episode of Studio Insights brought to you by Belvista Studios. And cut. What's up, awesome human? Thank you on behalf of myself and the Belvista Studios team for continuously choosing to learn with us. We really appreciate it. If the tips and the insights and the context resonate with you and you want to take your skills to the next level, or you want to make your life way easier, you will love our Creator Hub. The Creator Hub is a place for people like you and us. Basically, it's the stuff that we use internally at Belvista Studios, and then we just share it publicly with you. The Creator Hub is created by instructional designers for instructional designers, and what you'll love there at the moment is we've got a quiz, could I be a better instructional designer, that has so much tips in the feedback if you're interested in human-centered design, or just taking your skills to the next level in terms of the solutions you're creating, the problems you want to solve. But in there as well, aren't we cute? That's us. But we've got the coaching courses, freebies, give us gratitude, and also we've got some templates. And basically they're always around the lens of learning experience design, instructional design, and e-learning. So a human-centered design focus is very much what we're about at Belvista Studios. So putting your learners at the heart of a solution and creating something for their needs. So there's the human-centered design stuff, and then we've also got the business stuff. So this is the stuff they don't teach you about when you want to become a freelancer or a consultant in the instructional design world. So go check it out. The link is in the description. You can check out everything that is available for you. Thank you for choosing to learn with us. Continuously invest in your skills. You will be rewarded as an instructional designer. Share this stuff, share it with other people, because when we are better instructional designers, we create better solutions that create better humans, that create a better world. So we have a very important role, and I'm excited to be on this journey with you. Have an awesome day.